Now, the first thing you're probably wondering with any car review is, what is this car going to be costing me? Now, the Ford Escape within its class is a little bit more on the expensive end. At its base model, you're going to be paying about $24,800, $25,000 right out of pocket. Now, if you're going to go up to the higher end, then you can expect to pay closer to about $32,000, $33,000 if you want the top model, which starts at $33,400. So that's what you can expect. Now, you may have noticed that the design is brand new, so let's walk around it. I'll show you the design, what I think about it, and let's see if you like it as well. The previous design of the Ford Escape has been around since 2013, so an update has been much needed for this car. Now, this design, it looks a lot more car-like, especially on the front end. I noticed it looks pretty similar to a Ford Fusion, actually. There is a reason behind this. After 2020, Ford no longer produces any sedans. So keep that in mind. They're trying to appeal to people who still maybe want a softer sedan look, but with the amenities that a crossover SUV has to offer. This one's got a more shallow profile, softer lines as I just mentioned, and I think it looks clean. It looks good. It certainly looks a lot better than the old design. An update is always good. The downside I found here is that it tends to blend in a lot with cars in its class. It doesn't seem to differentiate itself too much from other crossover SUVs, but if that's not something that bothers you, then by all means, go for this one. We'll be talking about a little bit more of the interior, what you can expect there, but as far as the exterior is concerned, this is what we're working with. You're certainly going to be treated a lot nicer as the driver in the Escape than you are the passenger, at least in the SE trim you will be. Now, there is plenty of room for 3 passengers in the Escape. That's one of the good things, is that the front seat passenger and the 2 in the back, they'll be fine. It says that it can seat 5, but if you're going to try and fit 4 adults in the back, it's going to be a little bit iffy. If you've got kids, different story. But there is the 60-40 split here of the seat here, so I don't know, as a full-grown adult, my shoulders are bleeding right over into the middle of the seat here. So yeah, if we were to fit 3 in the back, we're gonna be kind of squished. But however, the material is nice, the seats are comfortable, so the passengers will be comfortable. Which brings me to my next point. There is kind of a disgusting lack of amenities in the back seat. I don't know why I said disgusting, but there's no USB ports. The only outlet you have is this 12-volt car outlet. And then you've got the 2 air ducts here that you can direct the air for the AC, but there's no climate control for the passengers. So in terms of amenities, it's very basic. They'll get some airflow. I guess if they have a 12-volt adapter for their phone, then that would work, but there's no USB ports. There's just not a whole lot of amenities for the passengers, and that's something that kind of irks me a little bit as a passenger. Of course, like I said, the driver gets treated pretty well, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. As for the driver, you've got your pros and cons, of course. If you're tall, or if you're short, or anything in between, you're gonna be fine. You'll be able to adjust whatever you need inside of the Escape. Visibility has not been an issue for me today. I can adjust the seat as high or as low as I want to give me the best driving experience. So nothing to worry about there. You're gonna be comfortable. As well, we've got the fabric seats here, which they work really well with the seat heater. I always say heat seater with the seat heater. Your bum's gonna get real warm, real fast. Don't worry about that, especially if you live in a wintry climate. Technology in here, the technology is good enough. It's a very basic offering with technology. The touchscreen is fast and responsive, so nothing to worry about there. If you have an Android phone, it has Android Auto in here, so it will be able to connect with your phone just fine there. It does connect with the iPhone as well, but you don't get Apple CarPlay, at least not in this model. So yeah, it works well enough, and it's a very basic offering, although I do like how quick the Ford Sync system is. You do have 2 USB ports in here, which seems small. You've got the USB-C, and then you've got a USB 3 in the center console. So they're prepping for the future, which is great, but I don't know, it just seems the technological offerings are a little bit lacking for the price point. Now, actually driving the Escape, this is actually where the Escape stands out from the rest. It grows on you. Not even that it grows on you. It's a fun car to drive. It's extremely comfortable too. The acceleration is responsive. The steering is responsive. I actually didn't quite expect the steering to be quite as responsive when I first picked it up, so it was a little shocking when I first turned. I thought, oh, well, all right, that's nice. So yeah, you're gonna be just fine. It goes over bumps like a dream. It handles corners wonderfully. It honestly drives a lot like a sedan, more so than an SUV. So you don't have to worry about anything there. And actually driving the car is where it really started to impress me, which I guess would be a very large pro for this vehicle, is because that's what you're going to be doing, is driving it. So the experience of driving it should be great. Another pro of the vehicle is the safety features. The safety features come standard because of the Ford Co-Pilot system that it comes with. You've got automatic emergency braking, you've got lane keeping assist, you've got blind spot detection with cross traffic alert, so if you start to go and a car's coming, it'll let you know. So you can avoid any accidents that way. I love that aspect of it. It's wonderful in that way. Another great pro for the car as well are the 5 different driving modes. You've got normal mode, eco, sport, slippery, and then deep snow and sand that you can select from on the go actually. There's just a button right down here where you can select all those different modes, and it makes it really easy, gives you a lot more confidence as a driver that no matter what kind of conditions you're going to be running into, you'll be able to get through it just fine. Living here where I am, we get pretty rough winters, and so snow and all-wheel drive is something that I really consider when buying a car. There is an all-wheel drive option with all of the trims, and then those driving modes, you know, they're going to get you through anything, so that is a wonderful feature. That being said, there are also some cons to consider with the car. The 1.5 liter engine, as I've mentioned in the overview video, it is a 3-cylinder engine. It's not a 4-cylinder, it's not a V6, it's a 3-cylinder engine. It's a good engine, it works, it has some quirks, it gets a little bubbly sometimes if you're trying to accelerate, but that's one thing. It's not the prettiest sounding engine either, so that's something to consider with it. It works well enough, but I think Ford has a lot to work out with the 3-cylinder. And then the last con with driving the vehicle is, and it's not even that huge of a con, it's more of an adjustment, something I haven't quite gotten used to yet while driving it, is the auto start, auto stop. It works great, works wonderful. It's just when you do stop, which, am I gonna do that here? Likely not. Let's stop, okay. So when you stop, it does shut the engine off, but it doesn't start the engine back up until you hit the accelerator. So it kind of slows down the acceleration a little bit more if you're trying to go at a stoplight. And so I have noticed that a little bit. Other vehicles, when you let off the brake, that's usually when it starts the car back up. So something to consider. It's mainly an adjustment rather than a glaring con against the vehicle. So what's my final verdict of the 2020 Escape then? I actually like this SUV a lot more than I thought I would. It's sad to say, I wasn't extremely excited about it, but as I've driven it, it's grown on me. And so, yeah, I think it's a great car. The Ford EcoBoost engine that they have is a dream. It works wonderfully. As I mentioned before, it is a 3-cylinder, but it works great with your fuel. It's a very fuel efficient car, so if that's something you're concerned about, then definitely take note of that. You should definitely consider buying this car if you want a little more space than a typical sedan, but you don't want to sacrifice the way that a sedan would drive. It operates very similar to one. For what the Escape has to offer, the price is still a little bit steep for what it offers, but if that's not a huge issue, if you want to pay a little bit more for Ford's dependability, then you certainly get that. If I were to purchase this, then the model that I would consider is the SEL. I think that the SEL has the most options for customization, and I think that you're going to be able to get the most bang for your buck out of the SEL, since you can upgrade to the 4-cylinder 2.0 liter, or you can keep the 1.5, but you can just really make it your car and get the most amenities out of it. But that being said, I think it's a great car. and I think that you should definitely consider it. So with that, that's my review of the 2020 Ford Escape. I hope that the review was useful for you. If you wanted to get a little bit more in depth into the details of the car, get the measurements, figure out what's going on under the hood there, then go check out my overview of the Ford Escape, where I talk a little more in depth of what the car has to offer in terms of space and room and stats and all that stuff. But if you liked the video here today, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video if you want to see more like it, and I'll be putting out some more videos in the future. And I look forward to seeing you there.